Do you think we fell off? I mean, yeah, probably. Why? We keep getting these 50 views in a minute, bros falling off comments. Wait, we only have 50 views in a minute? That's not much at all. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, I'm not really sure. Maybe we just lost our edge. Yeah, I guess so. So what are you gonna name our podcast? I was thinking Sunny Side Up.
As you can probably tell, the background is a little different. So I'm in the process of moving, which entails putting things in boxes and taking things back out in boxes and then putting things in boxes again, etc., etc., etc. And what I like to do during this long and tedious process is just listen to some podcasts. But while I was listening to podcasts on autoplay, I had a little epiphany. Podcasts are too easy to start. Let me explain. It's not even a low barrier to entry medium. It's as if instead of a barrier, it was a dude holding a sign that says, "Free money, here's a microphone." And there are two sides of the coin here. On the positive side, everyone has a voice on the internet. There is a vast and diverse compendium of knowledge, commentary, and media for all of us to enjoy. On the negative side, everyone has a voice on the internet. And the podcasters that really grind my gears are the influencers who decided to take up the medium to just get an extra payday. You know, influencers like Logan Paul, the Tuah girl. Those are the only influencers I know of. It seems like these days, anyone who has an ounce of fame, a smidgen of attention, a fraction of recognition, it gives them the right to just yap and spout their own opinions online. Who gave them the right? Who gave them the gumption to think that we would care? Is this a standard we have now? Is this what endgame capitalism is like? Why are you looking at me like that? And every single one is bad, like objectively bad. I thought brain rot content was exclusive to short form content, where a random viral video clip is paired with Subway Surfers or an earwax removal video because we have the attention span of a below average intelligence goldfish. But I didn't realize that we had invented brain rot content that lasts a full hour. I had to watch an unhealthy amount of these podcasts for this video. And it felt like I was getting a lobotomy the entire time. And now you get to see what a lobotomy feels like too. I had low expectations going into the Talk Tuah podcast, not because I have anything against a Hawk Tuah girl. Actually, what's her name? You know, that's probably a good enough explanation. I had low expectations going into the Talk Tuah podcast for the same reason that I have low expectations for all of these podcasts. Anyone can start one. And somehow I was still disappointed.
Haley, get up.
All right, I'm ready to talk. So I wanted to start my podcast out here in Belfast, Tennessee, where I was born at and where I've been ever since until a few weeks ago and everything changed. And I want you guys to get to know me better than Hawk Tuah. No, it's Tuah. Like, you really got to put your emphasis. Yeah, you're not saying Tuah, you're saying Tuah, you know? Like, you got to really put your back into it.
I don't understand when people only think of me as a Batman. Like, I feel like I'm pretty nuanced as a person. I have other interests, like cats and really tight latex. But for some reason, everyone just thinks I'm this masked vigilante that likes to beat people. For Gotham. Yeah, I don't really get it. If you want people to know you for more than just what you're famous for, maybe don't talk about that thing right after you say that. Or maybe don't make the name of your podcast a pun of the thing that you're famous for. Or maybe, just maybe, don't name the title of your first episode of your podcast, I Said Hawk Tuah, and now I'm here. And additionally, where is here? Seriously, where is here? What's our location?
Our location seems to be in the middle of a bunch of pies, Captain. Shields up. Mr. Sunray, scan the composition. I want to know what we're up against. Captain, I'm getting a reading that I don't understand. The components seem to be lemon meringue, key lime, and savings? That doesn't make sense. Captain, the pies are hailing us. On screen, Mr. Rayshine.
Now, chances are you just saw an ad on this video. If you didn't, you're one of the lucky ones. If you did, how did it make you feel? Do you feel annoyed? Do you feel peeved? Well, if you do, I have the perfect solution for you. Pi.org. It seems like every single website these days has ads, whether it's pop-up ads or sidebar ads or those really annoying video ads where a guy is playing a game where he has a bunch of other little guys and he's trying to increase the group of little guys that he has, but they keep going in the wrong direction and keep losing guys, so it frustrates you to no end to the point where you actually download the game and play it yourself just to beat the ad. And once you eventually do beat the game, you just sit there in self-hatred instead of contentment. Pi.org can help. Pi.org is a free ad blocker that not only blocks your ads, but also rewards you if you do happen to see ads. It works the same as any browser extension, and you can install it in seconds. See? Seconds. Once installed, just make sure the green icon is checked and you can enjoy all of your internet activity ad-free. Just not with my videos, because Taco is a diva and eats better than me. If you do choose to view ads, Pi will help you rack up rewards that you can use at over 10,000 stores. On top of that, Pi.org will help you automatically save money by applying coupons at checkout. So you can save the next time you decide to buy 10,000 ladybugs or 2 Star Trek uniforms just to film one ad read. Please leave the ads on my videos and earn rewards. It's a win-win. Go to pi.org/RayLikeSunshine and add Pi to Chrome, or download their mobile app today to start saving time and money. Thank you to pi.org for sponsoring today, and let's get back to the video. So I'm sure all of you are wondering, what does Tuah talk about Tuah? Well, in the first 10 minutes, they cover how much they love Logan Paul,
No, that's like a man, you know.
Matt Rife,
Met him in person.
Thanks to you, best
Melted.
wingman ever.
Yeah, shout out you, girlfriend. Now I got a pillow to sleep with every night. Whatever.
getting Botox, and how people should be doing more crack. Because have you ever seen an unhappy crackhead? That is not in my script. That is literally verbatim what they said.
Have you tried crack though? From what I understand, it's better than a kid.
Yeah, I've never seen an unhappy crackhead.
And that's not to mention the number of audio issues that are in the first part of the video, despite the fact that they are clearly in a professional podcast studio.
Stop shaving your vagina hair.
Don't stop shaving your vagina hair. I don't know where the
let's
fuck
grow it
Whitney's
out
going
and
with
put
this.
beads
Don't
in
stop.
No.
I'm sorry, Also, for the entire time, there are just like 2 other people who just chill in the darkness. They're introduced as Chelsea and Jamie.
And then we got Chelsea over here, and then we got Jamie, of course. Jamie's one of the women.
Sure am.
We need a white man for diversity.
Exactly.
These days.
I agree.
It was actually really distracting for my watch through because instead of learning about who Haley was, I was just wondering this entire time, who are these people? I mean, to be fair, I was asking that about everybody on this podcast, but still, who the heck, Tuah, are these people? Welcome back to The Late Show. We are today joined by our special guest, Ray, who has just released his new book. Great to be here, Ray. You know, when I was writing this book, I had the weirdest epiphany and... Who is that? Oh, him? That's Jamie. Sup? I don't think that answers my question. Bro, it's Jamie. White men are the most oppressed group in society today. And what makes the execution of this podcast so much more confusing is the fact that the entire premise, according to the description, is Haley proving to the world instantly that she is so much more than just that. With the that being
And spit on that thing.
Haley is taking the mic to share her story, and what other name for her podcast would be more fitting than Talk Tuah with Haley Welch.
And I want you guys to get to know me better than Hawk Tuah.
And yet for so much of the podcast, we barely get to hear Haley talk, let alone get to know her. There are whole segments where it seemed like everybody except for Haley were talking. The following is 10 minutes of the podcast, except played at normal speed only when Haley is talking.
Always give you. They train them as. It's yeah, but also the kind of.
Dr. Doolittle's a good way to put that.
Well, I know.
Yeah.
It's like
Fair enough. Exactly. And
You
they
know?
can't help themselves either.
That's
so
right.
that's why I like doing it.
Yeah.
They can't help
Why do people start?
themselves. Where's my money at?
totally everything. You know,
Yeah.
'cause I can't.
And you don't owe anybody shit.
Your Honor, I rest Tuah my case. This podcast makes Joe Rogan seem like Aristotle. This podcast makes the whatever podcast look like a Renaissance painting. This podcast makes Fresh and Fit sound like a Khan Academy philosophy lecture. Okay, it's maybe not that bad, but you get my point. Because see, when it comes to podcasts, they fall into one of 3 categories. They either educate, inform, or entertain. Emma Chamberlain's Anything Goes, strictly in the entertain section. It's like a nice cup of hot chocolate on a rainy day. Andrew Huberman's Huberman Lab podcast, it's meant to educate. And it's cheating on its girlfriend. Girlfriends. A 4-hour-long podcast on the rise and fall of the Roman Empire. That's here. That is all the sections. What else am I supposed to listen to when I can't fall asleep at 3 a.m.? But when it comes to Talk Tuah, it's nowhere on this chart. The equation to Talk Tuah on this chart is error. It doesn't inform. It definitely doesn't educate. And what I think it's supposed to be is entertainment. But here's the problem. If we had another chart of how entertaining something is, at the top here would be peak emotional fulfillment. Don't ask me what that feels like. I have no idea. In the middle here would be like hitting a sick trick on a fingerboard. I also don't know what that feels like. Down at the bottom here would probably be like getting kicked in the nuts or something. And unfortunately, I do know what that feels like. Talk Tuah would be a couple steps removed from that. Like a little more. Like just a little bit more. And I don't think it's even Haley's fault. The girl was probably just doing what her agency told her to do. And her agency just didn't do a good job at making Haley the star of her own podcast. But it's the first episode. Like it's probably just performance jitters. So I watched a second one to see if the first one was just a fluke. But at this point through my watch through, my brain was essentially a puddle of mush. And realizing that I had 3 more episodes to cover, as well as 2 other entirely different podcasts to watch, I went ahead and did the very rational thing of praying to Jesus that the second episode would have some substance or entertainment or fucking anything at this point. And that's when I realized my over 2 decades of agnosticism would bite me in the ass. Let's see this. Ray says, "Dear God, please let the second episode of Hawk..." Okay, Ray. Dear Ray. First off, you slimy, heathen, non-believing piece of shit. As I was in this delirious, half-catatonic state, I realized that halfway through the second episode of Talk Tuah, they had spent over 15 minutes recounting from multiple POVs in soul-crushingly excruciating detail the events that led up to the 5-second video of Hawk Tuah, the interview which, reportedly, Haley is actually suing her interviewee over for the rights to the video, after the guy asked for just a little bit of credit for, you know, giving her everything she has now.
Alright, let's talk to you about Hawk Tuah. There's a rumor going around that Haley Welch, aka Hawk Tuah, is currently suing Dee Marlowe, the person that interviewed her in her famous viral video. Now, this is purely just a rumor. There is no evidence of a filed complaint that's been circulated around the internet, but if someone has a copy, please send it to me. I'll make a video about that.
Maybe it's just me, but if someone handed me a cake on a silver platter and asked for a crumb in return, my first instinct wouldn't be to sue them for the fucking crumb. I'm just saying, if your goal is to let your fan base get a better insight of you as a person, other than just your 5 seconds of fame, maybe don't take every opportunity to recount the 5 seconds of fame. Or, I don't know, get in a PR disaster on second number 5. And some of you might be asking, why am I specifically hating on the Hawk Tuah girl so much? I'm not. Honestly, I respect the hustle. She's getting the bag. The Hawk Tuah girl turned her 5 seconds of fame into 4.4 million views on YouTube in just over a month. That is seriously impressive. And also because I hate all of these podcasts equally. Why do all these podcasts have to have a pun in it? God damn it. The Impaulsive podcast is an interesting case. It is fairly well established. It has some notable, albeit sometimes controversial guests. But while Talk Tuah is just a case of an inexperienced host and the lack of any substance, the Impaulsive podcast suffers from a little known ailment called being hosted by Logan Paul. You would think that 6 years after the infamous Forest incident that this ingrown toenail of a human being would have learned his lesson about being a good, law-abiding, tax-paying citizen of this society. He lives in Puerto Rico? What do you mean you don't have to pay income taxes in Puerto Rico? How much are tickets to Puerto Rico? But no, while he hasn't had a massive controversy, as bad as the Forest incident, he has been caught scamming his fans, abandoning a pet pig, and even got served a class action lawsuit. So I'm sure it comes as no surprise that his podcast is also a shit show. The worst person you know did something bad? Who would have thought? On episode 351 of the podcast, they brought in special guest Bobby Lee, who I already have a lot of reservations against because of his less than ideal portrayal of Asian men.
Yeah, you don't feel good? You want me to do it again? What am I? What? Where are you going?
Do not kiss my ankle, my ankle bone.
I'm sorry, come back.
Why are you looking at me? Why are you looking at me? Why are you staring at me?
Chrissy, why are you staring?
Chrissy!
And what he did in this episode. During one of the segments, Bobby decided it was a good idea to pull down his pants and take his dick out to put it in the face of a very reluctant and very clearly uncomfortable George Janko, who, in Logan's own words, is his best friend.
Introducing the third co-host of Impaulsive, my best friend, George Janko.
Bobby then proceeded to tell him to smell it. And I'm literally not exaggerating this.
Dude, this is not gay. It's podcasting. It's for entertainment.
It's material.
And in improv, you never disagree. Okay. You always agree. Because yes and you ruin the moment if you don't do it. So you're going to smell my dick, and it's not gay.
It's material, George.
Yeah. So here. I have to grab your head.
No.
Now, even on the best of days, smelling some dude's no-no square would probably not crack the top 10 of the things that I want to do that day, and probably much less so if I was on camera and there are forced expectations of how I should be behaving. Not only is this episode and this full segment still on YouTube, the official Impaulsive Clips channel clipped this part and uploaded it specifically. At this point, I don't know why they just stopped at clipping it. Logan's PR team really should have just went the extra mile and served themselves a court order for, allegedly for legal reasons, aiding and abetting sexual assault. What Logan's editors did leave out, again, allegedly for legal reasons, were the numerous times that Bobby Lee unconsensually grabbed George Janko in his Junko.
He knows I had a problem with the way that Logan and you were kind of gassing him to keep doing. He started the episode putting his balls in my face. I let that one go. Then every 2 seconds, he kept grabbing my dick. I don't think... How would you feel if a man that has his back completely towards you, that only turns around to grab your dick,
Right.
talk shit to your face, and you can't smack or beat the living breaks off of this guy? Because Logan makes me apologize to this man, or I don't have a job on Impaulsive anymore.
I guess you can say Bobby Lee was being a little impulsive. That was a joke. And so is Bobby Lee not being a registered sex offender. So what was Logan's real-time, non-PR certified response to this incident?
Beef with a guy? I don't.
Yeah,
No. I didn't do anything wrong.
I know, but you have beef now.
I didn't do anything wrong.
I know, but regardless, you got beef with him.
George and my guys over here, you guys have to check me.
No, but
It wasn't.
No, he's a comedian. He's a comedian. He's like,
he
we're all
can
just
handle
joking.
it.
We're
I
just
know, I
fucking
thought he could
around. We're
handle
just
it.
fucking around. It was all fun and jest.
So let me get this straight. Your response to your friend getting sexually assaulted while on your podcast is not only to agree with Bobby Lee, but also to call him unprofessional and even apologize to Bobby Lee for George, very reasonably, walking away from the situation. Did I mention that Logan Paul considers this his best friend? That was a rhetorical question. I definitely did mention that Logan Paul calls him his best friend.
My best friend, George Janko.
Who needs enemies when you have friends like this? All this to say, we should really have regulations on who can start a podcast. Just like we should have regulations on who should start a YouTube, or like speaking in general. And anyone who violates those regulations should be put into jail expeditiously by some higher, more technologically advanced power. Because the internet is already so full of brain rot, and my content definitely isn't brain rot. Like all these sound effects and stuff, that's definitely... Who are you? Hey, I was using that. How'd you even get in here? Starfleet? Hey, I have rights. I have rights. We're on the light side of the internet. We're on the same side. I want to call my lawyer. Do they have lawyers in space?